disclaimer before the video starts. There's a good chance that if you comment before watching the whole video, you'll actually end up saying something that I already say in the video, so just try and watch till the end first. Enjoy. Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. You've just read the title. You've clicked on the video. You've got no idea what's going on. DLC 6, Zombies Chronicles 2.0, Tranzit Remastered, 5 Remastered, Call of the Dead Remastered. Today, I'm going to give you all the information about this topic that has suddenly sprung to life in the last couple of hours, so that you are the most informed people on the planet about what's going on here. Probably minus Treyarch themselves, okay? Basically, I want you to be able to go into school tomorrow, get nudged by your mate, and have them go, yo, are you excited for 5 Remastered? And for you to respond and say, actually, here's what's going on, okay? You're gonna have all the details. So, first of all, let me quickly break down a little bit of context for this situation. DLC 5 has been out for over a year now, Zombies Chronicles, and in the build-up to DLC 5, there were lots of different leaks from various different places, whether it was analysts, whether it was actual leaks themselves, whether it was just teasers here and there, things that Jason had said in previous interviews, all sorts of little bits and bobs came together and meant that there was a slow rising tide for DLC 5 of hype in the community, and then suddenly exploded when JC did his reveal. This, as far as I'm concerned, is the first we've ever heard of a DLC 6, though. There's been no other analyst talk, there's been basically nothing other than Treyarch saying that they are not done with Black Ops 3. That's the only other thing that I think is relevant to this conversation here, bar maybe one or two other things that I might cover later in this video, okay? So that sets the stage for why this is such a surprise. Now let's talk about what the hell's going on, okay? It seems like a chap called Chris Bob, who's actually from Bristol. He's a Bristolian YouTuber, and I live in Bristol right now. That's where I go to university, so high five, brother. He has sent some info to Glitching Queen, basically saying, in his game, in Black Ops 3, on the menu screen, it's giving him an error message that says, missing map packs, menu DLC 6, name short, as the first missing thing, and then DLC 4 ZM pack revelations salvation. So the second bit of that, the salvation, is obviously just DLC 4 for Black Ops 3. That's something that we're completely familiar with. It's Revelations, right? So he doesn't have that map pack installed. But it's also saying that it's looking for a DLC 6 and not finding it. And so, initially, when I think people saw this, they thought, oh, it's probably just talking about, like, the Giant or something, like, it's probably nothing. But then people looked into it a bit more, and it seems like it is actually a bit deeper than that. Now, the reason it looks different in the way it's being displayed in the menu here is because when you've got a bit of text like this displayed in the menus, it's typically going to be stored in what's called a key value pair. And I'm going to make this as basic as possible. Comp sci students, you can rip into me as much as you like in the comment section because I'm simplifying this, but I want to make it easy to understand, okay? A key value pair is basically a data type which is typically used in games for storing data in a certain way. So Treyarch will be sitting there going, okay, we've got to be able to tell people if they don't have a map pack, but we've got to be able to do it in any language. So if your game is installed in Spanish, or in English, or in French, or in German, you need to be told that your map pack isn't installed in the relevant language. And so what they do is they have a key, which in this case is your menu DLC 6 name short, and then they have a value, and the value is the data that it's associated with. So the key is basically pointing towards the data, and then the data itself will be the relevant information in whatever language you have enabled in your game. So the bit of text you're seeing here after the comma, the DLC 4 ZM pack revelation salvation, that is your value. That is the actual data being returned when the game is looking for it. And so in the game code, there'll be something saying, okay, DLC 4 name short, and then it'll go, nope, I know what that's associated with. I know the data that goes with that key. It's this ZM pack revelations, but for the case of the DLC 6 name short, it doesn't have that data to point to and display instead. And so all it's doing is displaying the key. So that's why there's a bit of a discrepancy there and it looks different, okay? So we've got a key being displayed with no associated data, nothing to point to, and therefore nothing for us to really dig into, other than the fact that this is clearly pointing towards something that would be appropriate to be named DLC 6. What the hell, alright? We can go a little bit deeper. Now at this point, you might actually completely reasonably say, okay, seems like there's something DLC 6 related going on, but it's probably not zombies related because of the fact that it doesn't say ZM anywhere in that key, okay? You compare it to the value that we're looking at in the second half of this little error message, and that mentions ZM, and ZM is usually a prefix or a suffix that they squeeze into whatever they're naming to show that it's zombies related. However, clearly in this case, there's no ZM. But if we then look back at the game files for the rest of Black Ops 3, I mean, actually, specifically, let's look at Chronicles, because that's the best direct comparison. Chronicles is named Menu DLC 5, and then basically Zombies Chronicles, right? Or ZMHD. That's the naming for Zombies Chronicles, so it's got just Menu DLC 5, or it's got ZMHD, so there's sort of both going on there. There's actually a perfect comparison that we can make here as well. The key value pair for Zombies Chronicles, the key is Menu DLC 5 name short, just like we're seeing here, and the value, the data returned, is Zombies Chronicles if you've got the English localization installed. So, maybe it is zombies related, and I mean, there's a lot of potential for a Zombies DLC at this point, because let's think about it. Zombies Chronicles obviously released with 8 maps in it, which was unprecedented completely, and despite that, there are still a bunch of maps left over. Call of the Dead, 5, Nuketown, Mob of the Dead, but obviously we're getting Blood of the Dead now, so we can basically cross that one off the list. Tranzit, Die Rise, Buried, like, there's potential for them to explore here, like, no doubt. And I mean, sort of Deriz, but they already did that anyway, obviously, with the Giant, so that doesn't really count either. There's a lot of maps, though, remaining that they could draw from, and so it's completely valid, in my opinion, to say maybe this would be a kind of way of them giving us a whole load of information about the Tranzit crew, because they'd be remastering the Tranzit crew maps if they were doing this. A whole load of info about that crew before we then see them in more depth in Blood of the Dead. Because Primus are obviously featured in the Blood of the Dead teaser, but the Victis crew, that Tranzit crew, categorically have to play a huge role in that map. We see in the comic they are left in their little stasis pods, and that's when the crew arrive, and so they absolutely have to be involved, and so it would make sense, just like they did releasing the comic itself, for Treyarch to say, okay, let's flesh out that world and story even more before launch, and give people an injection of information to get people really jazzed up for whatever the hell's going to happen in Blood of the Dead. That's a feasible thought, okay? And that's not unrealistic at all. I think that there's been a lot of speculation that they might actually remaster those maps anyway, but during Black Ops 4. So we've got Zombies Chronicles for Black Ops 3, and then like a Chronicles 2.0 for Black Ops 4, featuring all those maps that we missed out on, or just featuring the Tranzit crew. It could be the Tranzit crew kind of remastered pack or something. But obviously, right now, we don't know how DLC is going to work at all in Black Ops 4, and so it's neither really here nor there what we think might be coming, because we have literally no clue, okay? We don't know about the Season Pass details or anything. Some more information that's really relevant here is that Jason has said that there are several Zombies reveals coming before the year is out, as in before October, before Black Ops 4 releases. And some of them are obvious, okay? E3 is an obvious one. Gamescom is probably an obvious one. Beyond that, though, the list starts getting a bit narrower. Comic-Con, probably, but then is there going to be zombie stuff in a beta? That would be 4. And then beyond that, what else? The list kind of ends there. But this 6th DLC could absolutely be one of those several Zombies events that Jason was planning leading up to Black Ops 4. That would make a lot of sense, because I've been scratching my head recently going, what was Jason referring to there? Like, I have no idea. He mentioned that there'd be a whole load of things coming, but we've only got like 3 kind of confirmed, obvious, logical ones, and beyond that, it's a bit of a question mark. So this could fit in with that as well. However, there's then the problem of when they'd release it. I mean, where are they going to be able to squeeze it in? E3's happening in 2 weeks' time. It won't be before E3, so maybe they'll talk about it at E3, possibly, but Con aren't doing a big presentation at E3, they're just doing a talk about the history of zombies. Would that be a logical place for them to announce a DLC 6 that was zombies related? Maybe, but to be honest, I don't really think so, because they're talking specifically about, like, the origin story, like World at War in that panel, and it's not something that's going to have the same number of eyes on it that you'd normally have at an E3 conference. But then between E3 And the next thing that I guess would be probably Comic-Con, there's only a month. That is literally 1 month of time. During that, I'm going to be doing my physics project for the end of my degree here at university, but hopefully we're not getting a DLC 6. That would certainly screw my plans up, but also I think that there's a good chance that we either get some kind of viral campaign, some kind of teasers for zombies going towards Comic-Con or something like that. A map pack seems a bit crazy. And then after Comic-Con, which is what, like the end of July, August is going to be the beta for Black Ops 4, probably. Again, we don't know the dates, or at least I'm not aware of the dates, but August would make sense. September is going to be Gamescom and other stuff going on as well. Actually, August is Gamescom too. Like, there's just so much happening, dude. So I don't know when they would squeeze it in. Like, it seems really weird to me. But flipping it right back again, we're really going back and forth here with some of these ideas, and I'm going to clear it all up for you in a minute about what's really going on, but I want to get you kind of up to speed with all of the ideas that are sort of flowing around this right now. Flipping it back, they have said that they're going to be remastering classic Zombies maps, Zombies characters, and Zombies weapons. Okay, that's a big heckin' deal. They're remastering all of those and injecting them into the blackout mode for Black Ops 4. So that game's Battle Royale is going to have a whole bunch of stuff from MP that we have seen before, like Turbine, for example, from Black Ops 2 will probably be in there because we actually see some turbines on the kind of zoomed out map that they showed us in the trailer. There'll be some other classic multiplayer maps, like I wouldn't be surprised if like a firing range was in there. There'll be Nuketown involved somehow, probably, and they're going to blend all those maps together almost like they did with Revelations, except for multiplayer, but they're sewing zombies in there as well. And so if they're doing that work to remake all this stuff, I guess it makes sense for them to then bring that newly remastered Zombies content back and release it as a new DLC for Black Ops 3, if that's even something that they can physically do. I mean, to be honest, I think that a lot of the work towards Black Ops 4 actually got showed off in Chronicles. Things like the sound design changes, the round music changes, all of that stuff was a big deal. The particle system that they were using, the ability to attach sounds to particles, all those sorts of things was completely new. Knifing, the sound that it made when you knife, and just the feel of all that sort of stuff, completely new. A lot of the stuff that they did in terms of the actual world design as well, completely new. They made a lot of strides with Chronicles, and I think that that was essentially a precursor to some of the things that we'd be seeing in Black Ops 4. And so that's exactly the sort of thing that we'd be expecting to see for Blackout if they're working towards Blackout and having loads of old zombie stuff in there. Along the way, maybe they give us, just like they did with the previous stuff, a little injection of zombies maps in the form of Tranzit, Die Rise, Buried, etc. So, that seems like a whole load of information with reasons for and against this being a kind of Zombies Chronicles 2.0. I mean, one final thing to mention for sure is that Zombies Chronicles, the original one, Zombies Chronicles 1.0, was the best-selling PSN downloadable add-on content for a game that the PSN store had ever seen at the time. Like, it was either fastest selling or it was the most volume or something. I don't remember the exact statistic right now, but that thing broke records. And, I mean, they've said it as well in the past. Like, they had expectations for Chronicles, but the Zombies community blew them out of the water. We smashed it. And they would have seen that and gone, okay, how can we do this again? It made us loads of money. When's 2.0 happening? Like, it's just a logical business decision. So, loads and loads of info there about reasons why this might be happening or might not be happening. But the thing that really seals this deal, and actually is probably not what you were expecting, is that it seems like, according to Porter, who has developed the Wraith program, which is linked in the description down below, this is not, in the game files, referred to as a ZMHD2, just as Chronicles was a ZMHD. Instead, this, and this is the thing that is just like, whoa, it's a little bit weird, but bear with me here. It's referred to as MPHD, which, at first glance, you'd assume would mean that this is the multiplayer community's version of Zombies Chronicles. For example, it might be called Black Ops Chronicles, or something along those lines. It seems like this is the multiplayer version of what we saw in 2017. And if that's the case, does that mean that there'll just be 8 multiplayer maps in there? Maybe. But I want you to think about all the things that I've already said in this video, okay? I've mentioned a lot of different ideas about how there's a huge amount of content that Treyarch still have kind of in their back pocket, ready to whip out at any moment, and that we're all very hungry for. I think that if DLC 6 is indeed coming, because in all of this, could have been a mistake, right? This could have just been an error. This could have literally been one person at Treyarch that typoed DLC 5 name short or something and caused this entire ruckus. Like, it could be an error. And I don't want to rule that out just yet, okay? Because like I said, this is basically the first that we're hearing about a DLC 6 even being a possibility. But assuming that it is real, I don't think the fact that it's called MPHD rules out the fact that this still could have zombies maps in it. I reckon it's completely reasonable to assume that Treyarch would see the colossal interest for Zombies Chronicles and go, okay, what do we have left at our disposal? We have zombies maps left, but we have zombies maps that are less liked than the ones we've remastered, and there are fewer than 8 of them. And so, wouldn't it make sense to do a Zombies Chronicles 2.0 style expansion to Black Ops 3, except have something like 4 multiplayer maps and 4 zombies maps? Just as an example. Or even 5 multiplayer maps and 3 zombies maps. Some kind of blend. And then it would completely make sense, especially if it was tilted in the MP favor, to call it MPHD. I don't think that's off the cards. However, we then need to take another step back and say, hold on, Black Ops 3 has already had multiplayer maps added to the game in the last couple of months. So we've got Redwood Snow, for example, was the first one that they added, and Nightfall Fringe. And those maps are new. Yes, they're versions of stuff that we've already seen in the game, but they are new iterations of them. They're completely different kind of aesthetics because, I mean, obviously one's at night, whereas the original was during the day. One is all snowy when originally it wasn't. That's fresh content, right? So there has already been stuff that they've done in that area. Does that affect the fact that we might be then getting more multiplayer maps in like a bigger release that would be paid for DLC as opposed to free DLCs like we've seen with those MP maps? I don't know, man. Like, just like I said at the beginning of the video, I wanted in this video to give you all the information on the table, and there's a lot of different conflicting ideas here, and that's why I'm kind of jumping from thing to thing to thing, trying to just get you guys up to speed with this, and then just get as much knowledge into your heads as I possibly can, right? Also, what we already said about Blackout still completely makes sense. As I said, they're not just going to be remastering zombie stuff, there'll be loads of MP stuff in there as well, and campaign, okay? Like, what if? And this is obviously not going to happen, but maybe for Chronicles 3, what if we got, like, the Black Ops campaign remastered? Bruh. Like, screw having a campaign mode in Black Ops 4, give us the Black Ops 1 campaign remastered. That's the most classic campaign. Like, please, that would be incredible, but that's a side point, okay? They're remastering all this MP content for Blackout. Why not chuck that in a DLC now as well, and make us pay for it twice? It's a completely Activision thing to do. They see the fact that we're already spending loads of money on these remasters, make us do it again. Use that content that they're already developing to top up a Zombies DLC that they don't have enough content to fully fill to 8 maps. Bob's your uncle. Done. I think that that's a reasonable assumption to make from the information we have here. Now, I want to stress, all this information has come out in the last 2 hours. I was out, actually, at a friend's house, celebrating the fact that most of my friends finished their exams today at uni. Like, most of them finished their degrees today, basically. So, it's been a bit of a kind of party all day, and I was not really anticipating this news to come out at all. I've still got loads of university work to do. I'm going to be working until September. It's going to be gross. But I had a feeling that today was going to be a quiet night. And yet, I mean, here we are. And all this is happening. So, with the information I've presented to you today, I want you to leave a comment and tell me what you think this all means. Does MPHD mean it's only multiplayer maps? Does this suggest that it's actually just a typo of some kind? Does this, in your opinion, mean that there's a chance that there's going to be some kind of DLC 6 blend, like I've discussed in this video as well? Or do you think that everyone's being stupid and you have another idea that's actually better than everything else that everyone else has suggested, and that's what's going to happen instead? leave your comments down below. Please, I implore you. I'm absolutely intrigued to see where this goes in the next couple of days, because personally, I am just not ready for another DLC. I am not ready, bro. I've got too much work to do. I don't know how I will survive otherwise, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to turn down more content from Treyarch, and it looks like that's what this is going to be. So, leave a like on the video if you've enjoyed. I think that we can categorically say this is as solved as it could possibly be at this point. We've figured out the root kind of name for it, MPHD. We've talked about all the possibilities as far as I'm concerned for where it might lead, and we've basically picked out the most likely options. And so in my opinion, that justifies the title. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. Like I said, if you have enjoyed, then please leave a like. Also, you know full well that you're not going to be able to get depth like this anywhere else in the Zombies community at this short notice. So, I mean, if that's not worth a subscribe, I don't know what is. As I said, Porter has obviously been very useful for this because he's actually done a lot of the digging in the game, so thanks to him, and also to Chris Bob and to Queen, I guess, for amplifying Chris Bob's post. So, cheers, guys. Hopefully you guys are pretty pumped about this. I mean, I think it's a bit weird, but I'm rolling with it. Alright, it's 2 AM. I've got to edit this video and get it uploaded ASAP. I've got more content coming in the next few days. Don't you worry, guys. It's going to be an exciting time. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.